It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
So my friends, April 23rd, it's primary time. That's the time you go out and you select who is going to affect our lives. If you recall, we did a series on how elections affect our lives, okay? Now, it's interesting, you know, my friends, that when you have a good person, all right, who is qualified and has their heart in what they're doing, especially when they run for office, and I applaud anyone who's running for office today for what they have to go through. But you have a person, for example, that is really sincere in helping people. And then what happens is when they get into office, because we have the radicals today in our society, the wackos, I call them, who want to do everything to destroy the family life, have no morals, okay? When they see a good person in office, they will do anything they can to get rid of them. They'll lie, they'll smear, they'll do anything, and especially go after their family. So what they're hoping is that that person would crumble and say, look, what do we need this for? Why are you coming after? You know how good you are. Well, today we have State Representative Mike Cabell from the 117th District. And it's interesting, as I've seen, this is just my opinion, the smear campaign that they are doing on Mike, okay? Because he is accomplishing so many things, so they take a little thing. Let me give you an example. If I was giving a speech and there's reporters there, and I would say, they should kill all the immigrants. However, now, that would be my first statement, but here's my second. However, we know that is definitely something we should never do. We should help immigrants. And I would go on and talk about the different things. The headline in the paper or the headline on television would be, Lesante says we should kill all the immigrants, not saying everything else that happened after that, all right? So what they've done to smear Mike is they've taken little things, innocently said, and blow them out of proportion and make you think that this guy is terrible. Well, I think that's totally disgusting, and my friends, don't buy it. They're trying to ruin us. Look what's happening in our country today with the radicals. Girls with boys, and they're trying to, especially in the educational system, it's a disgrace. We're allowing it to happen because we're putting these radicals in office. Let's stop that. So my guest today is Representative Mike Cabell. Mike, how are you?
I'm good, Sam. You're painting an interesting picture, but you're not wrong about what I'm going through. But yeah, it makes you not want to do this sometimes, what you're saying.
And that's what, you see, the trick is they come after you. And, you know, you're a wholesome, you have God bless, you have a wholesome family.
Thank you.
You work hard with your family.
Yep.
You know, you work for everything you had.
Yes, sir.
All right? And then what happens when you got in office and say, hey, this guy is too good. He's doing the good things. Then what they try to do is they try to smear you.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I totally hate that. Now, who's ever responsible for that, who's ever responsible for this, you should be ashamed of yourself.
You'll never meet them because they're out of state.
And that's what happens,
yeah.
okay? And then, you know, Rick Morelli, who is one of our political analysts,
Yep.
he mentioned, you know, how the outside people come in and pour money into these local elections.
Yep.
Because they want to destroy what's happening.
Yeah, we saw the county council race.
Yeah. So, you know, not to get into the smear thing here, but you try to correct some of the things.
Yep.
What's your general feeling about the crap that they're presenting?
I think you painted a good picture, Sam. I think what's happening is you have outside influence, some of which, you know, we've looked into, some of which is out of state, some of it's special interest from Harrisburg. I think it is. I think it's an attack on me because, I mean, maybe potentially some of these really crazier ones that are out of state, you don't know where the money's coming from. It's dark money. That's literally what they say. You know, you've heard of the Soros money that's floating around, influencing DA races and stuff like that. So unfortunately, it's not, you know, the voters, it's not the districts, it's not people putting their name behind it that we could go and confront and say, hey, this isn't true, or what, you know, what are you actually, what's your intention here? A lot of it is that dark money, and I think it's because of a lot of the reasons you said. It possibly could be because of my you know, early endorsement of Donald Trump. Who knows? But I know that people, I think you're right though, Sam, people don't like it. You know what I mean? I'm hearing people are calling me every day and they're saying this stuff is disgusting and it needs to stop.
Yeah, and the sad is how they get away with this stuff.
Yep.
Okay, so you bring here where you voted for some of the Democrat bills, and let me tell you, as I've told you before the show, when I was the chairman of the board, and
Sure.
some people didn't like me, but however, they came up with ideas that were good.
Yep.
I was there to support them. But some of these here, like you mentioned, House Bill 714 and 1018, where it's downright lies.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
where you voted no. Okay,
Right.
and they're saying you voted with them. Okay,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so I don't think most people even understand some of these bills. Okay,
Right.
but they want to project you as a person that, look at this, you can't trust the guy. Okay.
Correct.
When you ran for office, and I watched you very carefully, and if you were a Democrat, I'd be saying the same thing.
Sure.
If you were a Democrat, I would be having this show. So
Right.
the point is that we have, it's sad that the Democrat National Committee has taken on such a very liberal campaign,
Sure.
and I don't even want to go there. But the point is, when you decided to run for office, you know, you had a successful business, you had a family,
Yep.
great family, God bless. Why did you decide to run for office?
Honestly, the main reason is because I love this area. You know, and this district specifically is interesting. After they changed the district, Tara Toohill for a long time was our representative from Drums and did an amazing job. And then Bobby Schnee took over and did a great job for the short time he was there. They created a new district where really the seat that I took over was Karen Boback. So it shifted the dynamics a little bit. It was always kind of an Hazelton-centric district. That was the population center. Believe it or not, Butler Township's the population center of this district, which is my hometown. And I love it here. I left for a short period of college and a little less than a year after college, and I will never leave. This is home for me, and I feel like, you know, after we sold the business and I tried to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, it just kind of all lined up, and truly I want to do it to better my community, because I'm raising my children here and have my family here, and I'm never
Why
leaving.
did you pick state representative?
So it was just kind of, it all kind of came together. It was never my grand plan. I ran for county council years ago, and I won the primary, and I was unsuccessful in the general, and I didn't love the whole process at that point in time. And it kind of turned me off to politics for a little bit, and then I went out and I was a poli-sci major, so I certainly have thought about public office in the future, but it was never my ultimate goal. But really, it just happened when we were at home. This opened up. The seat was open. We looked at the demographics and we're like, wow, we need somebody strong from Butler Township, because we don't want somebody from the back mountain to take this seat, because as always, we'll be forgotten down here. So it was just kind of came together, and it worked out. I love it so far.
So you ran a very good campaign, okay. Then you won, and then you get into office.
Yep.
And boy, did you hit the road running.
Yep.
You really. So what happened when you got in there, and what was the first thing? You were in office, I think, 9-10 days, and what did you do?
Vote. So the first thing I did was knocking doors. You know, you get a sense of what's important to folks when you're knocking doors and you're out there. That's democracy in action. You know what I mean? So the first thing I did was we dropped the voter ID bill. So we were hoping, considering there was a little bit of I left a piece out there where I woke up on November after the election, November, and we were in the minority. We were going to be in the minority. It's a statistical tie. There's a long story. Won't get into that now. But my goal was to drop the voter ID bill, to make that my number one legislative priority as soon as I got to Harrisburg.
And what is that?
So what it would do, it's not a perfect bill, but it's a bill that we actually thought the governor would sign. The legislation would, everybody talks about when there's any sort of pushback on voter ID, it's about disenfranchising voters. That's always the argument. I don't think it's a valid argument, but that's the argument that we hear. So what this would do is every registered voter would be sent a durable ID card. So then no voter can say they've been disenfranchised, that they don't have an ID, because they'd literally be sent one, and it would require you to use that or another allowed form of ID to vote. It's a common sense type of thing that I can't believe we're still having this conversation about.
You mentioned something, and I usually just start off with the questions, is because I always find this interesting. It's like before I did my show today, I walked through the mall here and I talked to some of the people that come
Sure.
up here, and they sit around and they have their own meetings,
Yeah,
etc.
yeah.
And especially most of them are seniors.
Yep.
And I told them, what's your show today? He said, and you'd appreciate it. And I'm not just saying this.
Sure, yeah.
I said, well, I'm interviewing Mike Cabell today. Oh, Mike, he's doing a good job. Not one of them said anything about the smear campaign.
Yeah.
But for those who have, I just want them to know that it's a lot of crap and it's bull.
Appreciate that.
But the point is, the response that you get. Okay, and I said, well, why? Well, he's doing a good job. He's a young guy. He's enthusiastic, and you hear all these good things. So, knocking on doors. Okay, nothing like going to a person's home, and they're in their own home. They could say what they want to say. They're not.
You're right.
Okay,
You're
they
right.
don't have to hold anything back.
Nope.
What did you find are some of the key things that people are concerned about? I'm sure the Democrats don't want to hear this, but what?
Yeah, and you're right. You nailed it. It's not for the faint of heart, knocking on these doors. And you know, before you knock the first one, you're a little nervous, whatever.
Sure you are.
But you're absolutely right too. And that it's kind of cool because they are in control at that moment.
Right.
You know, you're the member, but you're there asking for their support and asking for their vote. And sometimes they're not so nice. Most of the time, they're incredibly nice. Almost 99% of the time, even if they don't agree with you or they don't like you, most people are actually really nice. But back to your question, the number one thing, number one, A, B, and C, that I hear at doors now and before, but specifically right now, is illegal immigration. That's on top of mind for every single person. Now, I preface this by saying, when I talk to them, I mention as a state legislator, I don't have a direct influence on border policy. But not to mention, illegal immigration affects us on the state level, the local level, every single facet of life. So that is the number one issue so far that I've been hearing.
And how do they feel? What are some of the other issues that they talk to you about?
Inflation. You know, I mean, that's another one. How could you not? And that's not a partisan thing either. That's Republican, Democrats, men, women, children. When you go to the grocery store and it's triple what it was, 6, 7, 8 years ago. When you pay your health insurance premium, that's tripled since the Affordable Care Act has happened. So there's no escaping that.
I try to understand sometimes when they're trying to tell me that things are great. And the inflation's going down, and you get the other side. And I told you that they have a great PR campaign, letting people know. It's like a person who has 5 children, and you tell them that you only make so much a year, and they say, "Well, you can't have 5 children. You really have 4." Oh, that's right, I have 4. Okay,
and people buy it. Yeah.
See, and that's the sad part about what's happening, and it's so difficult sometimes to go into behind the scenes.
Sure.
Okay. I think everybody has something to offer. It's unfortunately when you had the head of these organizations, like the DNC
chairs,
okay. Individually, some of them some Democrats are really great people.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah. I have family members.
But then you have, unfortunately, they're told from above, you got to kill these unborn babies as much as you can. You got to, and then we live with all that stuff. And you tell a person how great things are when they go to the grocery store, they see their utility bills or they see their health bills, etc. And tell them how great it is.
Right.
Some of the other things I'd like to discuss with you were some of the bills that you brought up, okay, that affect the constituents, okay? And I think that's one of the things that when you're going around and you're talking to people, then all right, we got to go in this direction.
For sure.
Okay? And that's what you've been doing. Folks, I'm talking to Mike Cabell, Representative Mike Cabell, running for office on April 23rd in the 117th District. I say to you all the time, my friends, I don't care who you vote for, but make sure you know who the person is, what their background is, and who's doing what. This smear campaign that did on Mike was a total disgrace. Lies up and down. It's just to destroy, try to destroy. You're not going to destroy Mike, that's for sure. I mean, but try to destroy a good family. That's what they do, my friends. That's what these radicals are doing. And that's why they're taking control. And we're just letting them do it. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. Remember, 24/7, SSPTV.com. You can watch all of our shows on our YouTube channel. If you have any comments, please let me know, Sam at SSPTV.com. We're talking about this election coming up April 23rd. We have a lot more to say throughout the month, but I want to announce to you, and Mike, you're going to appreciate this, Congressman Lou Barletta said this: "I am proud to endorse Mike Cabell for re-election. He has shown that he is not afraid to stand up to people on both sides of the aisle and has taken meaningful action to stop the elimination of parental involvement in schools." So we have an endorsement by a person who is, I thought, many, many years been honest and been truthful. So in addition to this key endorsement, you have many other endorsements. So we could go, there's a list this long, which is a tribute to you, Mike.
Yeah, that's an honor. That one's an honor, though, looking up to Lou my whole life, living in the Hazelton area.
Illegal immigration is the word illegal.
Yep.
It means that we don't, I accept anybody. As long as you go to, you don't know.
Legal immigration's a good thing.
So if you qualify.
Sure.
But you don't know whether, you see what's happening, these murders are coming in, the dope and diseases and all that stuff. And so I think those are things to be considered.
Agreed.
I am proud of you that you did that. So the medical fraud bill.
Yep.
Let's talk about the Medicare.
Yep, Medicaid. Medicaid and Medicare.
Medicaid,
Both.
okay. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So it's cool. This was an interesting one. I jumped on this. We looked in. We saw that it was then Attorney General Shapiro when he did his analysis and was investigating all the fraud that's happening in the Medicaid and Medicare world. This was actually his legislative suggestion that we do this. So I'm like, well, there's a winner, because we know that he'll sign the bill. So we got, long story short, we got it through committee, which is a really tall task in a Democrat-controlled House, considering that's not their top priority, Medicaid fraud. So we got through committee. We were getting it to the point where it would be to a House vote, a floor vote, and I knew the Senate would support it as well. And again, figuring the governor would sign it. And this is where I really got a taste of the what they call the swamp. Because actually a faction of my own party, small faction, one individual who was kind of involved with a special interest group, that this would affect them. Now they're saying it would hurt their workforce, whatever. In reality, it's a housekeeping thing. It's so they have an MPI number so that their claims go with the actual services being provided. Boom. We know that it's actually being done. It would save the taxpayers millions of dollars potentially years over the next couple of years. And they came in and they railroaded it, and all of a sudden nobody wants to bring it to the House floor because of this special interest. So that was a little disheartening to be honest with you, Sam, because this is something that everybody agreed upon, kind of like voter ID. That would be passed too if we bring that to a floor vote. Don't underestimate the fact that there would be many Democrats who would vote for that because it's so widely popular. Same thing with this. It would have passed.
So why didn't it pass?
Why didn't voter ID pass or the Medicare one?
Both of them.
So voter ID, that's simple.
If they're so good, you're talking about, and other people, why didn't they pass?
That one's simple. So because the Democrats control the calendar and they control what we bring up to vote on the House floor, and there would have been, I would bet, a quarter of the Democrats would have voted yes. In all the moderate districts, because all of their constituents actually agree with it, because 80% of individuals believe in voter ID, they didn't bring it to a vote because they actually don't want it. I don't know how else to explain it to you. Unfortunately, they truly don't want it for whatever reason. They're saying it's because it's disenfranchising. I'll leave it up to the voters and you to decide, Sam, why you think that they wouldn't want voter ID to be passed.
It was mentioned on the show, I think by Lou or one of the politicians. It's very simple. It's for votes. The Democrats, what do you, I mean, it's a simple,
said it.
It's a simple thing.
I don't want to be overly partisan, but yes, you nailed it.
But the point is, it's for votes.
For sure.
Okay, I mean, so they can camouflage it all they want, but the fact is, they want to bring as many people in as they can, get them in districts, get the head count up, so they can control the electoral college, and see, these are the things that people don't know.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
And then when they get hit, and they walk into a grocery store and say, "Oh my God, what?" Or they see their utility bill, "Oh my God."
You're right.
Or they see all the, "Oh my God." Well, who made this happen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
who made this happen?
And it's unfortunate that we only get, we're looking at the turnout for this election. You're going to get, 25%? So that's also unfortunate. And we have to get out there. And this is the most important, not my election. This presidential election and this year is the most important of my lifetime. I'm not sure about you, but it's definitely the most important.
Every election is important.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah. The budget. Okay,
Yes.
so we're hearing pros and cons about the budget. What are your thoughts about this current budget? I mean, I'm sure
it's huge.
Yeah.
So $48.6 billion. So thankfully it hasn't been passed yet, but in February the governor called a joint session and we went through it, and I'm on appropriations, so I had some insight on it. We dug in a little bit, and $3.2 billion in new spending, looking to utilize about over $3 billion of the rainy day fund, which is one-time dollars, Sam. That's money that we got from a lot of the federal programs. So we have a surplus. We have $11 billion in the rainy day fund. That's for a rainy day, right? If you're budgeting for your family, you don't spend the rainy day fund on a vacation, right? So the governor's proposing we spend through this, which is great for him. He's going to tout a lot of these programs. Some of them are okay, some of them are not okay. But at the end of the day, I honestly believe he's going to run for president in a couple of years. He hasn't hid that fact, and that's okay. I don't have any problem with that. But after the 3 years, then over the next 3 years, when he burns through that surplus, how are we going to get the money moving forward? We're going to have to raise taxes, and that's not acceptable to me, and it's not acceptable to the constituents of the 117th. So we have to fight on this budget. We can't allow this to pass the way it is, or there's a gloomy outlook for us.
Well, I think what's happening is they're looking at some of the parts of this bill that are good for the school districts, okay, and the millions that they're going to bring in.
Sure.
And so when you're looking at those areas, you say, well, this is good. So maybe it's a matter of adjusting and dissecting, et cetera.
It's a negotiation, right? So of course he's going to ask for more. And we're going to have to reel in. But you saw the mess of what the budget was last year. I mean, it was a week before Christmas, and we were just finally passing the fiscal code. That's not fair. We have to go and do our job and get it done. It's not fair to the people that, they're paying our salary. We got to get it done.
So as a newcomer going into the House, first of all, you should feel complimented that they're trying to smear you. Okay,
tell my wife that.
Yeah, it's like, what are you saying, Sammy? No, the point is that the fact that they want to get rid of you, okay, is a compliment, because they know they're afraid of you.
The special interests, for sure.
The special interests are afraid of you because you're doing the right thing. Okay, so that's why I say whoever's involved here, and they're out of towners, but they're still, to me, some ties, but that's only my opinion. In closing, what do you tell your constituents why they should re-elect you? Okay, tell them why they should re-elect you.
So I first challenge them to get involved. Have your voices heard at the ballot box. Also, have your voices heard. We have countless town hall meetings. Our offices are open. I'm knocking doors. I work for you. So I want to continue to, hopefully we'll win the majority back. That's my goal. I'm hopefully going to win on April 23rd. I'm going to go out to the rest of the state. I'm going to knock doors and win the majority back for the House. Because without that, I'm only one person of 203 people. So we need to win the majority back. So that's number one. Number two is, even if we don't, my responsibility is to you, the constituents. So I want to be as accessible as possible and have my office be as accessible as possible to you, because ultimately that's what I'm here for. I'm representing you all. So I challenge you to continue to push me to do that.
Mike, a lot of politicians say what you say, but you live it. See, there's politicians come out, they say, I'm this, I'm that, and then try to get them, and you try to do this, etc., because it sounds good.
Sure.
These things sound good on television, but you live it.
Thank you.
See, and that's the thing. I got to tell you, I've been around a long time, done over 6,000 shows. I had a lot of great people sit there, and I had a lot of big phonies sit there, okay? And I knew the phonies, but the point is, I believe in telling the people facts, and sometimes they get a little upset when they hear the facts. As Mike Marcicano says, facts are stubborn things.
Yeah.
You bring them out, but I always say back. However, any of you feel that this garbage that was put out is legit, I don't understand, but my email is sam@ssptv.com. I applaud you, Mike.
Thank you, Sam.
I think you come from a great family.
Thank you.
And continue to do what you're doing.
I will.
Okay?
Thank you so much.
Don't forget, my friends, April 23rd, vote. And we're going to be running some pre-election shows that discuss many other things. And for that matter, I would love to hear your opinion. sam@ssptv.com, what you think. We'll see you next time.